today, not just the Padres series, huge start for the Cardinals' playoff potential future and outlook with Zach Wheeler coming back for the Phillies. Because if we do the old if the season ended today situation, even though you love the fact the Cardinals will be playing all 3 of those games at home, but if Wheeler is healthy and he gets 2 to 3 starts tuned up, if they can actually line up the rotation the way they like. Look, Kyle Gibson got rocked yesterday. He's shaky. But if you have to face Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola in the first 2 games against the Phillies, that's some right-handed firepower with legit swing and miss, big-time strikeout stuff. So even though the Cardinals are a better team, they're at home, that's not a 1-2 punch that you're loving to face by any means in the first round.
So we talked about this like a month ago. Who do you want to see the least in that 3-game series? Regardless of where it's a new thing, but regardless of it being in Busch or not, what team do you want to see the least face off against this one?
The least? The least. So you're basically saying between Phillies, Padres, and Brewers.
Yeah.
I think it's the Phillies. I mean, I'd like to watch the rest of this Padres series. I'm just looking at this from a starting pitching standpoint that we know the Cardinals crush lefties, and you're going to have to face 2 elite strikeout guys that on any given day. Now, Nola's a little bit more inconsistent, but still on any given night, both those guys can punch out 10 batters.
Yeah.
What do you think, Nate? I would actually say that the Cardinals do better against heavy fastball pitchers. I don't want to see them go up against some junk tossing, the kitchen sink at them that they haven't seen before.
A lefty, like the Cardinals crush lefties. That's the thing. That's why I think on paper, a Dodgers matchup, if you actually are facing, now the Dodgers have a great lineup, but if you were facing Urias and Kershaw and Anderson, that's a lot of lefties that the Cardinals usually bludgeon.
My thing about the playoffs are there's 2 things. There's 2 things I don't love to see. Guys that miss bats all the time. We talked about how the Cardinals need more of that in their rotation, and guys that can change the score in a hurry. The Phillies have got both of those. And, but one thing I also am a little bit more pro is playing against a team that doesn't have the world's greatest bullpen all the time. And that's what you want to see getting in, because you're not going to see a guy 2 or 3 times and barely at all in baseball anymore, but definitely not in the playoffs. So when I look at Philly and I look at San Diego seems like the draw I would actually prefer to see, because I'm not scared of what's at the end of the game and what's after the beginning of the guys that are there. But their recent history against that team, So, yeah, I agree. I think that this series right now is going to be telling, because if you do run into the team again, you at least want to know how you're going to pair off with them.
Let me read this text. I always go back and creep out the old text line, And somebody chimed in, and somebody chimed in. I was wondering what you guys had to take on this. With all the years in the playoffs, where are the big Wainwright wins? I can't remember any. I remember him getting rocked. I like him, but where is his success?
As a closer, obviously,
they always
in 06 he was fantastic.
I know, he threw that curveball.
They always throw that.
So what do you think? Is there any?
Listen, Wainwright's got a career ERA at 2.8 in the playoffs, so it might not be a huge signature moment, but it ain't like he's going out there and he's blowing the house up either.
Like Daddy Padre.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember in that Braves series a couple years ago. Here he threw into the 8th inning. 4 hits, got that thing started off the right way. That was a good start that he had. He wasn't. He was good against the Nationals the next round.
He was good against the Dodgers last year in the single game playoff.
Okay. He won 2 games. He won 2 games in the DS in 13. He missed a couple of postseason runs with injuries and things like that. I don't know. Wainwright's not the guy. I'm going to chirp.
Sanderson's chiming in. That's all. We love Sanderson. He's getting his mind right. We love that. Why aren't we talking about Wayne now? He can't strike anyone out. The contact rate is ridiculous. Guys get on and they will score with some contact. Is he wrong on that?
No, he's 100% right. Yep. And that's where this whole dead arm situation that Waino has been talking about throughout September, basically, that's 100% true. And if you wanted to just look at strikeout numbers. Now, Adam Wainwright this year, actually a pretty good, not elite, but a pretty good strikeout pitcher. But look at August, basically. He has, if you start with his last start in July, he struck out 8 batters, then 4, 5, 8, 7. That last start of 7 strikeouts was August 18th. We're talking more than a month ago. Since then, he's struck out 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, and 1. Now, nobody's saying Adam Wainwright should strike out 10 per game, but he probably should be around 6 on average.
That's healthy.
6, 7, 5, 6, 7, I think, for at this point in his career. The fact that he's not inducing hardly any swings and misses speaks to that dead arm.
Well,
because Adam Wainwright should be able to strike out about 5 batters a game.
Yeah, I mean, just on being a crafty guy, if you want to call him that, a placement guy, he should be able to do that. Well, the biggest thing that concerns me at the Cardinals, and you look at it, it's the separation from the other teams that are where they're at right now in the season. The Cardinals are 29th in all of baseball in strikeouts at just over 1,000. The next playoff team, that team that's even competing to be close to the playoffs, is the Twins, if you go total baseball, and they're up at 20, and they've got 200 more than the Cardinals. So the Cardinals are going to have to win in a way that no other teams are going about it in the playoffs. So
that's pitching strikes?
Yeah, okay. Team strikeouts, total team strikeouts from the pitching staff. They're 29th out of 30 teams in baseball.
Damn.
And that, when you look at what do the Cardinals need to do, how do they need to improve the team, what do they need to do? In today's day and age, you got to strike people out. You got to miss bats. You got to go after it. So they're going to have to get by with that this postseason, and you hope that works out. But when you get to the offseason, you got to do something about that.
So has there been a successful team that's ranked that high or low, whatever you want to look at it, in strikeout rate, that's been very successful in the playoffs?
Recently, I would say no. I mean, I haven't looked at those numbers, but when I think at the teams that have succeeded recently, I mean, you start with the Dodgers, they've always got a ton of guys that are missing bats. When you look at teams like the Braves, I mean, that was one of the keys to success they had last year is they just had a lot of different looks they'd throw at you, and they'd miss bats. A big rotation is the biggest weapon that you can have in the postseason regardless. You can go back through history, you can look at it no matter how it gets broken down. If you've got a guy that can go out there gut down and miss bats, you got a better shot than a team that doesn't.
Are you trembling at night, Sir Nathaniel, about this strikeout rate?
No, this is all new age talk to me. I mean, strikeout rates, where they rank, swing and miss stuff. I mean, look at who the Cardinals won the World Series with in their rotations. You need a couple of things to happen. You need a rally squirrel to trickle out across home plate.
With ratings.
You need So Taguchi to hit a home run off of Billy Wagner. You need David Freese to suddenly become a hero. Like, you need all these things to come together.
So you think the voodoo isn't right for this team yet?
No, I think the voodoo is actually brewing right now for this team.
I don't see any mysterious animals yet. That concerns me. There's definitely.
Have you looked at Mike Maddox? He does resemble a parrot in some ways.
There's a little bit of Master Splinter to him, true. I need at least 2 or 3 more scrappy white guys to come up because that's what this team is. There's not a Bo Hart. Who is it? Brendan Donovan's not a scrappy white guy. He would be the guy that would be in that position. You need it. It's not there.
How's he not scrappy?
Yeah.
Because he's squaring the ball up. He looks great with his hair.
Yeah. We need ugly white guy.
And he doesn't have a fun name. It's not a fun name. It's not Joe McEwing. It's not Bo Hart. It's not Skip Schumacher. And you don't see Brendan Donovan's jersey.
I want a mullet.
What needs to happen is we need somebody that people get behind, that they're buying jerseys, not jerseys. That's way too big of an investment for the front office. But print up some T-shirts and get people behind them.
So you're actually saying Brendan Donovan is too good.
I'm wrong.
Too good.
You need a bad, scrappy white guy. That's
actually,
from Middle Missouri.
More of a utility player.
Actually, I'm wrong. And I'll admit that. I'm wrong. Lars Nootbaar is that guy this year. He's scrappy. I don't know how scrappy it is, but people like saying his name and they like chanting it. So that could be what we're looking for.
You need a guy who chokes up on the bat.
Yeah.
Has a nice sharp stroke.
Yeah.
Nice 2-strike approach.
Oh, well, hello. Are you okay down there in Lovelyville?
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Hi, Sharon.
Good, how are you? I'm calling in because I thought it was so sweet of Cam, like literally the first couple of sentences out of his mouth. He wants to be sure that I'm okay in Florida, and he's warning me about the hurricane.
Well, actually, I want you to stay down there and record everything and then, send back data and
Document
stuff.
all of it.
Yeah.
You know what? I could totally do that, too, because my house is like a freaking fortress. It's a stone house that has hurricane windows. There isn't anything that's getting through that bad boy. So you know what? Bring it on. I'll stand here. I'll be live, and it'll be great.
Like Jim Cantori, where they stand in 2 feet of water, but they're on their knees acting like it's 6 feet.
and he's strapping himself to some rando pole. What a dork! and then you look, and they've got fans going on him to make it look worse. It's all fake. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
Somebody shared that. It's totally fake. Whatever.
I think hurricanes in general are fake, Sharon. You got to prove me wrong on that. Stay down there and see one of those bad boys.
I think Louisiana might beg to differ.
Yeah.
But, you never know. You can't believe everything you see on the idiot box,
Yeah.
You got to pick and choose.
That's right. Unfortunately, I still watch it for some reason. Hey, what's your Cardinal take real quick? I know you're jogging down the beach right now.
No, my Cardinal take is, it's ebbs and flows of the season, dude. Everybody's freaking panicked. Twitter has all got their panties in a wad. It's fine. And they have to remember, they're playing good teams, too, that want to win. And even when they're playing the bad teams, those teams want to rise up and prove they can beat a good team. So, they're not robots. They're not going to do it every night or even every week. Ebbs and flows, just like the beautiful ocean I'm looking at.
Oh,
Ebbs and
God.
flows.
Wow.
Loveliness.
And the tide goes out.
Oh,
How
yeah.
about that for an analogy?
Well, I'm going to have to read some of these texts whenever they're coming in pretty out here, Sharon. It's pretty funny. Hey, enjoy yourself.
Oh, my God.
Enjoy yourself. Be
thanks,
careful.
guys.
There's gators around, and there's hurricanes coming.
Bring it on. Bring those on, too. I got it.
All right, girl. All right.
Bring it.
We'll see you.
Have a great day.
You
You too.
too.
See ya. Bye-bye.
I think she's tougher than all of us.
She's great. But
She's like, bring on the hurricane. She's going to fight that toe-to-toe.
I ain't gonna lie.
She's wrestling gators down there.
she needs a new
I ain't
phone.
doing that.
She needs a new phone connection.
Oh. Yeah.
Phone connection is always bad.
First of all, if she's tougher than all of us, then move down to a nice little shanty down there.
Oh.
Not a stone
compound.
reinforced
There it is.
hurricane
Charlie. Why do you
complex.
need stone?
That's what I'm saying.
Why do you need stone?
My buddy's building a house down there. He's a big yacht guy, moved from Chicago to that Marco Island, and he's always showing us the updates. And he's got this stone house, hurricane proof.
I got a stone house, and I love it. That's why I want tornadoes. Let's go. I got places. Look, I'm not bringing on tornadoes. That's a different animal,
You're conjuring them?
I'm
like
just
you're on
saying,
top of a mountain?
I'm just saying, if there's one that's going to come by and hits my house, I got places to go.
Okay.
And I think we'll be safe, unless I'm passed out in the middle of the night. But if there's tornadoes coming at night, and I know it's coming, I ain't sleeping.
I had a tornado come through years ago, probably 10 years ago, came right down Delmar, landed down there, formed on the thing. I was asleep. And then I heard something hitting my window, and I was like, there's nothing close enough to this window that should be hitting it. The tree slapping itself against it. I look out there, and you just see the rain just in the sheets. I said, yep, time to get out of here.
Get downstairs. Get downstairs. Where's the offense? Losing patience. This has been going on way too long. There were games a couple weeks ago they would have lost if it wasn't for Albert hitting the tying or go-ahead runs.
I'm just...
Past three, I'm not done.
That's true.
Past 3 games, only 1 run scored, and that run started with Manfred Mann on second base. Try anything. Maybe if they let the rest of the team use a surfboard, gifts for bats, they can get some offense going. 636, put a name down.
I'm just so glad to be covering the Cardinals in 2010 again. Albert's carrying the load. The team's getting over. The boys are getting hot late in the season. Playoffs coming up.
Well, he's been.
It's the first week of the season. You guys, I don't understand this.
It's the first week of the season.
Come on, man.
I love that.
Doesn't matter who the Cardinals face. If they don't hit, they don't win. That's kind of like in hockey. If you don't score, you're not going to win.
That feels like...
Is that right?
Most
Is that right?
sports, Yeah,
I don't really get the argument. If Pujols didn't hit a couple of home runs, they would have lost those games. But he did.
Yeah, but he did. Exactly. It's like, you wouldn't have won if your goalie didn't stand. Well, he did.
Yeah,
'cause
but
he's
he
our
did.
goalie.
I think
And
the
is Pujols
point...
He's
not,
part of the
at this
team.
point, supposed to be aiding to the offense.
He's part of the team.
He's been one of the best hitters in the National League since the All-Star break. So I'm not quite sure. Of course, he has helped the team win.
Yeah, that's what he's supposed to do.
That's right.
I think that the sentiment that people that are in that part of reviewing the team is looking at, it's Pujols is doing this, but Pujols is supposed to be an add-in. And, yeah, he's contributing to the team, and, of course, he should be if he's in the lineup. But you're looking for other guys that you're leaning on to do it, too, so that it's not just Albert having to do it day in, day out. And I don't know. I mean, if he's in the lineup, and I've been happy he's been in the lineup more often, I don't know if I love how much he's playing first base. That seems like that's whatever.
What, get hurt?
Yeah, I mean, you go out there and you're going to try to make the plays that you're going to try to make, but
You're afraid he's going to pull a groin?
yeah, I don't want to see him get jammed up out there doing any of that. But, you want to see everybody contribute, but that's the name. It's a 162 game season. It's going to have ebbs and flows, and you should be glad that there's a guy that can step up and
Dog
do that.
days, baby. It's a dog days.
Even if he's the same age as the average listener to this show.
But this is now
17?
This is the final stretch, baby. This is the final 3 weeks.
is.
The final
to the
countdown?
playoffs.
Light at the end of the tunnel.
I think the issue too is now Goldie has been better the last week. Clearly, Goldie for most of the year led this team, knocking on the door of the Triple Crown. Any hitter in baseball is going to have a bad month, and he basically had that the last month or so before he's been good again the last week. Arenado, another guy who's carried this team all season long. It's pretty normal that you're going to have a bad stretch. He's had a rougher offensive month the last month or so. I just think the Cardinals had this lineup that we thought was going to be lengthened by folks like Nolan Gorman, now in the minors, Dylan Carlson, who's essentially a platoon player.
Yeah.
Which,
Tyler O'Neill.
right. I'm not trying to wrap this into the whole Juan Soto conversation because it's a couple months. But some of these trade pieces, and they have long careers still coming. Nolan Gorman, and
He'll
I think
be fine.
Dylan Carlson, they'll both be really good.
Yeah.
But you have guys who you were depending on. Nolan Gorman was very good for his first couple months.
Damn right he
Dylan
was.
Carlson, for a while, was playing a really good center field, and he was hitting at least close to average. Tyler O'Neill was 8th in the MVP last year. You're talking about guys that you were depending on to lengthen that lineup and bat 5th and 6th and make this a dangerous lineup. And now you're having to depend on Brendan Donovan. And
Yeah.
here and there, Lars Nootbaar, who also had his big month but has fallen off.
Hey, text line's blowing up. Should they give Wainwright the start? let me do that again, Gio. My bad. Should they give Wainwright a start off and allow Hudson to fill that role?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay.
Look at what
Okay.
the Mets put Scherzer on the injured list or whatever they call it, and he came back and fired 7 perfect innings and needed 70 pitches to get there or something. So I would be in favor of giving Waino a day or
Okay.
a turn in the.
Y'all agree on that?
Well, skip him, give him a
Skip
6th day. I mean, right now, the best part about the Cardinals situation is with how many games to play here? 149, which means they have, 13 games left. You have essentially 2.5 weeks. You have the perfect situation to set up your starting rotation exactly the way you want, with extra rest, with any starter you want to start that series 1, 2, and 3, because you're going to win the division easily, and you're not going to get the number 1 or number 2 seed. That's where a team like the Phillies or the Padres, if they're battling towards the final game to get that spot, they may not have to set up the rotation, may not be able to, because Zach Wheeler might have to pitch game 162. Joe Musgrove or whoever may have to pitch game 162. So for the Cardinals, they can give Waino, they can skip him, they can give him 7 days to start his first playoff game if they want to go that route.
All right, let's get to this text line. It's blowing up. Keep them coming in, by the way, 855-282-8255. I don't think Wainwright is the issue when your team can't buy a run lately, Spartan 4-4.
I think both can be true next to each other, though. I mean, because if you look at Wainwright over the last 3 starts, he's been getting rocked. I mean, it's not like it's necessarily always ending up on the box score, like he's ERA is crazy or anything like that.
But he's
I
getting
mean,
hit.
Yeah, he's getting touched up out there, and he's just good enough to be able to pitch out of some of those jams. But that's not going to stand up forever. And the point that I'm making about you need to be able to miss bats, those things matter, is that you don't have an opportunity to rally from it the next day in the playoffs. So if he needs time to get together, if Miles Michaelis still needs time to get together,
then do it.
You've got plenty of options out there that you can be working through, audition and seeing who's going to be in what shape. But yeah, why not start to? I mean, you're at 8.5 games. You got to assume that when they hit the magic number, things are going to change a little bit about who's going out there. I guess you can't pack it up early, but I think it's pretty safe to say they're not going to cough up that lead. So start doing what you need to do to get guys ready for when that playoff series comes up.
They're going to force another home start for Waino on the last home game instead of resting him. Cray. I think you have to get Waino and Michaelis a good rest in the rotation. Brendan Donovan isn't scrappy white guy, Matty? Question mark?
No,
Pretty
he
much
doesn't count.
Edmund Part 2.
No, he doesn't count.
Mitchie boy. Oh, God. Here comes the humble brags. See if she could shite outside in the hurricane. That wasn't very nice, Mitchie. Come on now. And I almost said it, too. Sharon is making my ears bleed. Go put your meat pants and go for a run by the lake. That wasn't nice either, because the crocodiles will get her and stuff, you know? The boy purpose chimed in.
Hey, do you want Waino to be the number one starter in the postseason, game one? And even if you do, you could start Waino at home on a Friday, on a Saturday versus Pittsburgh. The regular season ends on a Wednesday, and depending on the schedule, that first series starts, it could be on a Friday. So you can absolutely, I'm telling you, the Cardinals.
It does. It starts that Friday.
Yes.
Starts Friday the 7th.
The Cardinals will absolutely be able to set up the rotation perfectly with rest. That should not be an issue.
Sorry, Nate. AirPods on the beach aren't always the best. Sharon.
I texted her back. Those AirPods are horrible to talk on.
That's what Maddie's doing too, Holiday, I think, man. Like, he's got to hold the damn phone. Like, I'm glad that Jimmy cut him off there, by the way, Monday, because it's like, you just got to do that.
Yeah,
but AirPods suck, man, outside. They do.
They do.
Cam, how many hot dogs do you think you'd eat in one sitting, balling? Man, I don't.
Great question.
I don't jam hot dogs in my mouth like a psychopath.
Yeah, keep
I don't
that.
watch people do it.
What about
Food eating contests can go F themselves. I hate it. It's gross.
corner butcher hot dogs? Those are big.
Those are hard to get around.
They're plump and they're tasty.
My jaw hurts
Sometimes I
after
just can't
that.
stop eating.
Well, they sell out immediately.
Dude, they're gigantic. My mom and dad, if I don't get them hot dogs from there, they get pissed. Best Tony La Russa soundbite ever. I think he was being a baby in that, though.
I like the exchange.
He's sticking up for the Cub. Like, what do you care?
Far be it from Tony to be petty.
And if I'm like Miklas, I'm like, no. That's the editor. Settle down, you baby.
I still love it,
God,
though.
I love it too.
I wish there was more of that.
I know. No, ain't nobody doing that to Chief, I don't think. I just don't see that happening. I don't know.
Let's try this year.
I kind of want to see something.
Yeah.
It's something's bad, you know. Have we seen? He got kind of pissy with Jimmy Thomas, who we love, by the way, a couple times maybe.
About what?
I think he kind of got a little pissy when he thought he was done, and they waited like he gets up to leave, and they start asking him more questions.
Don't get me wrong. I love Chief.
Oh man,
But he does that every press conference.
He'll get up.
You can wait. Chief, you know I love you.
I know.
You can wait another 45 seconds
I
just to
get
make
you.
sure there's no more questions, but it makes it kind of funny.
I love that
because
though.
that's his trigger warning to everyone else that this will be my last question. If I've already half gotten up and have to sit back down, this will be the final question.
Nate, were you in the Blues locker room when Andy Murray's there?
Yeah.
Did he ever blow up? Because he went through a tough time too, man. Like, you know, like losing and guys are kind of chirping him, and he didn't have the team right. You know, obviously, you know.
Don't you think you need to have a little bit more emotion to blow up than he could typically muster?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was like a struggle to get a few sentences out of that old
I know.
man.
I hated the practices. Like, come to the board. He'd come over and he'd talk to them, and we have then 2 minutes out there moving around. Come to the board again. You just don't have your flow. Ebbs and flows, right?
Every once in a blue moon, though, he would show his personality a little. He would open it just a tidbit, and you're like, wow,
Like,
there
oh,
is
you are
a
witty.
human being inside that soul.
Oh, you're not a robot. Interesting.
And Andy Murray was very smart in the sense he did something that media members love, and he would always make sure he found your name. And if you asked him a question, he would respond with your name, which is big.
That is big.
If you say that reporter's name, all of a sudden, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
This guy likes me.
annoying in radio though, because you have to, you got to cut out. And Andy was asking a lot of the questions at that point, so it's like, well, Andy, and you gotta cut out.
Andy
well,
here.
Andy.
Hi, I'm Andy. Andy.
Nobody did that more than Spags. Spags was famous. We would laugh at the fact. Well, I'll tell you what. See, Jim, that's a good question. Now, Howard asked a question earlier. I'm going to double back to the question that Tom asked.
Yeah.
Now, here's the deal. I got to talk to Reggie, the training staff, about what's going on with the ankle. But good question, Jim. And then you'd be like, I can't use any of that answer.
None of it.
You just mentioned every single person in the media scrum.
Did he do that on purpose just so you didn't use it?
No, I think he was trying to be nice, actually.
He was eating up more time than not talk about the results of what the Rams were doing at that time.
Yeah, he was
Get through it.
calculated. He sounded nice, but he's really not telling you anything.
Well, no, every answer was, I got to talk to Reggie.
Reggie.
What's the deal with Steven Jackson's ankle? Reggie, what do we got? Reggie?
He won't tell me.
Do you remember they crammed everybody too in the little media room because they didn't want the media going to? They had this huge team meeting room with a podium that everyone had been using since the Rams got there.
Yeah.
And Spags didn't want media to have access to anything inside because you know,
You
media
guys are
might
all
take
crammed into like an elevator or something?
into this where the
where
writers
COVID
would sit
started.
there in these cubicles and type their articles, and now all of a sudden everybody's crunched in there with this backdrop and spags, and
Sounds like a nightmare.
Let me tell
media
you
people
something.
aren't typically small.
If he was asking questions, asking questions about how Jack was doing, Jack was going to be okay. Later on that night, he was going to be just fine.
Nate's always got to get that in there somehow.
Spags was your prototypical coach that was focused on all of the wrong things.
Yeah.
Instead
he's
of
doing that good
focusing on, he had a couple good years as a D coordinator.
Yeah.
But
He's not bad as one
yeah,
right
how
now.
many rings does he have?
Oh,
2, 3 as a
somewhere in
as a
there.
D coordinator.
God, that's
But
funny.
he was focused on where the media sat. Did the media stand up during training camp? Where did the media go to the bathroom?
Jesus.
What was the access like? Let's make sure we take down some pictures of the greatest show on turf and have more team pictures. And I have to say, I've been talking to a lot of media folks who cover the old Mizzou football team, and I'm getting the same type of vibe of a coach. I'm being told. And I've interviewed Eli just one time in person. But I'm getting the vibe of a guy who also is controlling some of the wrong things and cares too much about live shots and where a media member can watch
Helicopters.
practice. I'm getting a lot of that.
Shoes.
I'm getting a lot of that from folks that cover the team, just so you know.
All he needs to do is make sure they lay 7 on Saturday. That's all I care about. Control that, Eli.
Man. Well, I wouldn't put, I don't know.
I ain't touching that.
I
game.
don't know if I'm touching that. Yeah.
I'm already
touching
in.
it anyway,
I'm
but-
already in. It's going to be a good Saturday.
Yeah,
for
you
me.
already bet it, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
I'm good.
Sanderson, ebbs and flow is such a weak argument. The best teams in the league aren't having such big ebbs and flows.
I don't know. Look at the Yankees. They're still in first place, and they've been crap for a month and a half. I mean, Aaron Judge scored all of their runs for like 3 weeks.
Yeah. The big boys got to take care of business while the team's in a funk.
Speaking
That's
of
how it
which,
goes.
60 home runs last night.
Damn.
For the big dog out there.
What's he going to end with? What's the over-under? What's he ending with? Because he's hot right now.
I think he's going to get. I think he's going to be at about 64.
Okay.
I think. Me personally.
You think so, Charlie?
That's fair.
Okay.
Right around there.
Should we hear it?
Yeah, let's go. I like Aaron Judge. He looks like a Yankee, and he wears 99.
He's horrifying when you
Dude.
see him standing up there.
Wow.